Hi, I'm Maria Fontanazza, editor of Food Safety Tech, and I'm here at the 2018 Food Safety Consortium with Dr. Douglas Marshall, Chief Scientific Officer at Eurofins. You just gave a presentation in our supply chain track called Risky Ingredients. Can you give us a few of the takeaways of that session?
Absolutely. This is a talk that I developed because we had a lot of our customers ask us about, hey, how do I build my supply chain verification program? What do I need to look for? And we hear some prognosticators like myself say, well, never buy ingredients from country X, and we all know where country X is. But that misses the point because that's too simple. And so the nature of this talk is to go over some of the contemplations that food manufacturers have to do when they are thinking about building their supply chain program, what sorts of questions they should be asking, and then what are some of the best advice to control the ingredient supply, and really talk about all different kinds of business risks that food manufacturers take when they are bringing in ingredients from a supply chain they may have zero control over.
And when sourcing ingredients, can you give some of the 3 to 5 top questions that companies should be asking their suppliers during the process?
The first one I think is pretty obvious is, do you have a food safety plan? And can you share that food safety plan so I can review it and get some basis of judging whether or not you are a reputable supplier? The second one is asking if they have been a part of a GFSI-based auditing scheme, and so can I see the results of your last audit? So again, you're looking for verification data points that says that this supplier has an understanding of FSMA requirements and what it takes to sell products in the United States. And then the third question I would ask is, have you ever been involved in an outbreak or a recall? Because that gives you an opportunity to go back into the literature and search the details of that. Now, it's not necessarily a disqualifying event, but it certainly helps you understand what the issue was with that supplier, how they resolved it, and do they have was that a one-time only event, or are there a succession of events that happen from that supplier that might lead you to reduce your confidence in them as your supplier?
Okay. So at this conference, we're hearing a lot of talk about digital transformation, the use of data, being able to get actionable insights from the data. Do you have any thoughts on the integration of digital into the supply chain in how it's mitigating risk?
Well, a data warehouse would be very, very helpful in this quest because it allows you to get access to the 3 main things that I just pointed out: recall history, GFSI-based auditing results, and then access to a food safety plan. So these are document-heavy pieces of information that are difficult to send via a million different email attachments if you're the supplier. And then if you are the food safety manager and the manufacturer, you're going to have also a gigantic amount of data by which you have to keep in archives and then access and use when necessary. So having this kind of data service is going to be very beneficial to everybody along the whole supply chain.
Okay, and to ask a very broad question, where do you see the future of food safety headed as with respect to testing?
Well, obviously Eurofins has been in the testing market for over 30 years. We certainly have grown with that market. We absolutely don't see that changing. We see a steady trajectory, and the reason is very simple. Everybody in this whole food safety realm needs to have data points by which to inform their decisions. So those data points typically come from validation of food safety plan preventative controls, and then periodic verification of GMPs, HACCP plans, sanitation, and so forth. So obviously as a data provider, we absolutely see this as our bailiwick, and we see that continuing to grow globally.
Okay, and one more question.
Sure.
Where do you see metagenomics playing a role here? Because Dr. Marshall has contributed columns for us on the topic, so I'd like to hear some updated thoughts on metagenomics from you and where you see that going right now.
Well, certainly Eurofins is a large global provider. We have really state-of-the-art facilities worldwide. So here in the U.S., obviously, we have been pushing a genomics initiative for our customers, and it's been steadily growing. And the reason for this is because we're applying new technology to solve everyday kinds of problems. So these problems have been in existence ever since humankind has been manufacturing foods, and they seem to be recurring problems. And so to be able to deploy a modern set of tools to these questions helps our customers get a quicker resolution and a permanent resolution to these issues.